Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a modern mystery that honestly sounds like it was ripped straight out of a Hollywood thriller, but is, tragically, very real. We are looking at the largest unsolved individual crypto fraud in history. It's a massive deception that completely shook the financial world and left millions of people empty-handed. Let's get right into it.
$5 million. Yep, you heard that right. That is the massive reward currently being offered by the FBI for information leading to the arrest of a woman who just vanished into thin air 7 long years ago.
And the stakes behind that reward, they're absolutely devastating. Before she disappeared, this single individual convinced 3 million people across 175 different countries to hand over $4 billion. Let that sink in for a second. $4 billion.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The suspect, Dr. Ruja Ignatova. So, to the public, Dr. Ignatova was this elite, Oxford-educated lawyer who proudly touted her consulting work for McKinsey and Company. She spoke 4 languages, literally wore diamond crowns on stage, and was just the absolute picture of corporate competence. But, well, her hidden history told a very different story. In 2012, 2 years before launching her empire, she actually received a fraud conviction in Germany related to a suspicious corporate bankruptcy. Then, a year later, in 2013, she was involved in another multi-level marketing scheme called Bitcoin. These massive red flags, a criminal record and a prior scheme, were completely ignored when she launched her company OneCoin in 2014. Why? Simply because nobody was looking closely enough at her past. Section 2. The crime. A fake blockchain. Now, to understand how she pulled this off, we have to go back to 2014. Back then, early crypto like Bitcoin was intimidatingly complex. You had to deal with complicated wallets, private keys, expensive mining hardware, the whole shebang. Ruja presented OneCoin as the easy, elegant solution for the everyday person. But here is the absolutely crucial technical contrast. Bitcoin relies on a public, transparent, and verifiable blockchain. Anyone right now can go online and verify every single transaction that has ever occurred. But OneCoin? It wasn't a real cryptocurrency at all. It ran on a private SQL database, controlled entirely by one internal computer.
So, what does this all mean? Well, it was, quite literally, a spreadsheet with branding. The technology behind OneCoin was absolutely no different than the booking system your local hotel uses to reserve rooms. And the price? Totally invented. The price of OneCoin showed this perfect, continuous upward curve with 0 dips or corrections. By 2016, they claimed a single coin was worth almost 30 euros, but that price was set manually, internally by the company, completely disconnected from any real-world market. Crazy, right?
So you might be wondering, if the technology was completely fake, why did it grow so fast? To understand that, we have to look at the psychology of the scam. OneCoin operated on a ruthless multi-level marketing, or MLM structure. You bought educational packages ranging from 100 to a staggering 118,000 euros, which supposedly came with these tokens. But the real money wasn't in the coin, it was in the recruiting. Members earned massive commissions for bringing in new blood. Top promoters were making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. It basically functioned as a toxic pipeline that preyed entirely on human connections. We're talking about draining retirement funds and college savings from church groups and family WhatsApp chats, everywhere from Uganda to Brazil.
The peak of this whole illusion happened in June 2016. Ruja rented out Wembley Arena in London, stepped onto the stage in a floor-length gown and diamonds, and told tens of thousands of screaming believers, "In 2 years, nobody will talk about Bitcoin anymore." The hubris of that quote is just incredibly tragic. Each of these events felt like a massive revival meeting. And the crucial takeaway here is that the moment an investment starts to feel like a movement or a place where you belong, that is the exact moment you are most vulnerable to being taken advantage of.
All right, Section 3. October 2017. The Great Vanishing Act.
So how did the House of Cards fall? The unraveling began quietly on October 12, 2017. U.S. federal prosecutors issued a sealed indictment charging Ruja with wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering. But someone tipped her off. Just 13 days later, on October 25th, she boarded a Ryanair flight from Sofia, Bulgaria to Athens, Greece, and she never boarded another traceable flight. She vanished. She completely disappeared, leaving her brother, Konstantin, to run the operations until he was eventually arrested at LAX in March 2019. He basically ended up taking the fall for her escape.
And it wasn't just her brother who faced the music. Constantine cooperated with investigators to avoid decades behind bars. Her U.S. lawyer, Mark Scott, who laundered $400 million through fake hedge funds, he got 10 years in prison. Her money handler, Gilbert Armenta, got 5 years. Her co-founder, Carl Sebastian Greenwood, was sentenced to 20 years and ordered to return $300 million. Literally everyone in her inner circle was arrested, charged, and sentenced. But Ruja herself? She remains entirely unaccounted for. No trace.
Which brings us to Section 4, the hunt for $4 billion.
This leads to the obvious question for the victims, right? What happened to all that money? Well, authorities have absolutely not given up. In August 2024, a UK court ordered a global asset freeze on 2 London properties tied to the scheme. We're talking £11.4 million, with those funds being prepared for return to German victims. And looking ahead to September 2025, German prosecutors are actually filing formal charges specifically to stop the statute of limitations from expiring while they trace the money. Plus, remember that $5 million U.S. State Department reward we mentioned at the start? It remains highly active today. This is very much an open, active, and global manhunt.
Section 5. Is she alive?
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is, if she isn't in custody, where on earth is she? We have 2 very different theories here. Theory 1 claims she was murdered back in November 2018 on a yacht in the Ionian Sea by a Bulgarian crime lord. But actually, scratch that. This rumor was thoroughly debunked by German police. They confirmed the supposed hitman was sitting in a Dutch prison at the exact time of the alleged murder. Which brings us to the unsettling reality of Theory 2. This is what authorities lean toward. She's alive and hiding. Security sources suggest she might be in Cape Town, South Africa. U.S. investigators and members of her own inner circle insist she is alive, well protected by armed guards, and has likely undergone extensive plastic surgery to completely alter her appearance.
Okay, Section 6. Your armor against scams.
While the authorities continue their global manhunt, I want to pivot directly to you. To extract real educational value from this tragedy, let's build your armor. Here are 3 absolutely crucial rules to protect yourself. Step 1. Verify the blockchain yourself. Real blockchains have nothing to hide. You don't need permissions, special memberships, or logins to see transactions. Step 2. Remember that real assets go down. They react to the market. Beware the perfect upward curve. If there's 0 volatility, it means a person is setting the price, not a market. And step 3, check for recruiting commissions. If you have to recruit to make money, you aren't investing. Because remember, guaranteed returns are simply guaranteed exits for the scammers, not the investors.
I want to make sure we understand this concept completely. A pipeline scheme is a system where financial returns are directly tied to recruiting new members. It requires constant new money to survive, while those at the bottom ultimately lose everything. Always question the motives of the person pitching you. Just ask yourself, is someone being paid a commission to tell me about this investment? The answer to that question will honestly tell you everything you need to know.
Which leaves us with one final, deeply unsettling thought. While her accomplices sit in prison cells and 3 million victims are left with nothing but a fake blockchain and shattered savings, the architect of it all remains completely free. So, I leave you with this provocative question. Is she eating dinner somewhere tonight? Stay skeptical, verify everything you're told, and thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.